This chart tracks global ServiceNow adoption and its market valuation, projected at $58 billion by 2040. Over 85% of Fortune 500 companies rely on it. Yet, as adoption scales, the supply of professionals who can script remains stubbornly flat. This discrepancy dictates the salary market. The ability to write code is the specific technical requirement for commanding a premium, allowing developers to jump from a 4 lakh base to an 18 lakh package in India, or over $100,000 globally. Despite these financial incentives, the ecosystem is crowded with stalled administrators. These are IT professionals comfortable configuring the user interface and managing users, but lack the technical confidence to write logic. They often avoid the code because they fear breaking a live production environment. Without a safe way to practice and fail, they stay in support roles, accumulating years of experience without advancing their technical capabilities. Crossing the gap for simple UI configuration to custom scripting is the single non-negotiable requirement for reaching elite developer salaries and long-term career security. To cross that gap, most learners take the path of least resistance, buying inexpensive, pre-recorded video tutorials to study syntax. These pre-recorded videos create a psychological trap. Watching an expert fluidly type out a script makes the logic look obvious, giving the viewer a false sense of competence. This leads directly into tutorial hell. A student understands the theory while watching the video, but their mind goes blank when they have to write a script in an empty editor. The traditional alternative is enrolling in an expensive, official instructor-led bootcamp with 30 other students. These batch training models frequently suffer from pacing issues. Instructors teach to the lowest common denominator, which leaves advanced beginners bored and those struggling with basic concepts left behind. Standard educational models often fall short because they prioritize passive consumption, but writing code requires an active process of building the logic, failing in real time, and trying again. This matrix compares video tutorials and batch bootcamps against Thinkscaler Technology's one-on-one mentorship model, focusing on the feedback loop. The Thinkscaler framework requires active student input. You write flawed, broken code in your own practice environment and bring those exact failures directly to your live session. The mentor surgically deconstructs your code to find the underlying flaw in your logic, explaining exactly why the platform rejected your script. You cannot ask a pre-recorded video why your specific glide record query failed, and a Brocamp instructor rarely has the time to debug 30 different scripts individually. The Thinkscaler method demands high vulnerability. You must be willing to fail, write bad code, and have it critiqued live by an expert. That level of exposure and real-time critique is mentally exhausting compared to the comfort of quietly rewinding a video from your couch. But that mental exhaustion is the mechanism of action. Struggling through logic deconstruction is difficult in the moment, but it accelerates actual comprehension faster than any passive method. The curriculum pacing row on our matrix illustrates a strict linear syllabus for standard bootcamps, contrasted with an adaptive structure for the one-on-one sessions. Because you are the only student in the room, you bypass the concepts you already understand, reallocating those hours directly toward your specific weaknesses. Take Glide Record, for example, the core API you use to query and update the server-side database. If your mentor sees you struggling with it, they will stop the lesson, open a blank editor, and require you to build and explain a new database query from scratch right there on the call. The downside of this bespoke pacing is accountability. There is absolutely nowhere for you to hide during a private session if you haven't reviewed the material. If you do not practice independently between your live meetings, the entire curriculum stalls. Your mentor can guide your logic, but they cannot do the typing for you. Focused pacing ensures that you achieve true technical competency, but its success relies entirely on your willingness to do the solitary work. You are training to pass grueling technical interviews and survive the first month on a live deployment. This workflow diagram represents a real corporate IT service management resolution process. Thinkscaler skips generic exercises to focus entirely on complex enterprise use cases. Working through actual business logic scenarios teaches you how to map a company's strict operational requirements directly into functional ServiceNow code. To get there requires a raw time commitment of about 20 hours of live mentorship, typically spread across 3 to 4 weeks. Those 20 live hours must be matched by an equal or greater amount of solitary coding practice in the background. Production readiness is forged through the sustained repetition of solving real business problems. Pragmatically, the Thinkscaler program requires an upfront investment of roughly 21,000 rupees and a month of intensive cognitive effort. You weigh that cost against the immediate output, acquiring the exact skill set required to secure a developer role paying 10 to 18 lakh rupees annually. But the financial investment works only if you meet the technical requirement. You must heavily utilize your personal developer instance to practice outside of class. Thinkscaler is not a shortcut. It will not magically inject knowledge into you while you sit and watch. It is a high-leverage catalyst. It takes the effort you put in and multiplies its effectiveness by keeping you focused strictly on what matters. The return on your investment is the ability to borrow an expert's 8 years of production experience to permanently break through your own logic blockers. This chart provides a decision framework for guiding you to the optimal learning path based on your primary blocker: budget, time, or skill gap. If you follow the skill gap branch, you hit the first ideal candidate, the stalled administrator who requires surgical, personalized deconstruction of their logic to advance their career. The second ideal candidate is the career switcher, or fresher, who urgently needs exposure to real project scenarios to pass immediate technical interviews. If you are looking for a passive cram course to pass a multiple-choice certification, or if you are unwilling to actively break and fix code, this program is the wrong fit for you. If you do enroll, maximize your value. Demand that your mentor guides your underlying logic rather than just asking them for the correct syntax. Your choice between learning platforms ultimately comes down to a single question: are you ready to stop watching tutorials and start building?